What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, and just recently we got some new announcements from Jeff Kaplan talking about Season 6 of Overwatch Competitive. Now, it sounds like there's going to be a number of changes coming through for the 6th competitive season, which is good because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, there have been a lot of people complaining and being discontent with how competitive has been going recently. So I'm going to go ahead and run through all the changes that Jeff mentioned, and then kind of give my own feedback about what I think these might do for competitive mode. So the first change is that the competitive season itself will now be shorter. 2 months instead of 3. This I thought was a bit interesting because I didn't expect it to happen. This doesn't seem like something that anyone ever brought up as being an issue they thought should be remediated by making the seasons shorter. And so the fact that they did this came, at least for me, feels a bit out of left field, but I'm open to seeing how it affects things. If Blizzard thinks it'll work, then I'm willing to try it. It doesn't seem bad in any way to me, so let's go ahead and see how that plays out. Next up, this goes hand in hand with the shorter season, which is that you're going to get more and less competitive points. So at the end of the season, because the season is shorter, the rewards per tier of competitive points are going to be fewer. Jeff didn't specify any numbers specifically. However, while you're going to be getting fewer at the end of the season, you're also apparently going to be getting more points per win. Again, he didn't say any numbers specifically, but this is an interesting change as it'll make getting those precious golden guns a bit easier, I would say, for people who play competitive frequently. I can't help but wonder if this decision was in some way influenced by the known issue of non-competitive oriented people playing competitive mode simply because they want to get the golden guns. I know Jeff has mentioned before that this is an issue and he wishes he had never even put golden guns in the game, simply because it brings too many, I guess you could say, casual players into the competitive game mode. So overall, I guess it kind of sounds like there'll be more competitive points being rewarded. Once again, we're just going to have to wait to see the numbers once the season goes live. The next major change was a change to the skill decay, which now you need to play 5 games a week instead of 7 if you're at the higher tiers where you decay. Additionally, the rate of decay was decreased by 50%, so once you hit the point that you're going to start losing rank because of having not played, you're only going to drop at half the rate you were previously. This change seems pretty good, as while I don't spend enough time up at those higher ranks to really experience it firsthand, it does feel like 7 games a week is a little bit harsh of a threshold in order to not decay. So I think this is probably going to be for the best, definitely. However, there are more interesting changes to keep covering. Next up is a change to control point maps. This one was really surprising, because now games are a best of 3, just like they are in quick play instead of a best of 5. The reason for this, Jeff said, was that competitive games often ended up taking too long on control point maps, especially, just comparing them to an assault map, an escort map. Control points could take a long time. I know personally I've had control point maps that go over half an hour. So I feel like now, since it's only going to be best out of 3, this might be a little too short, but I don't know. I guess, we'll see how it plays out. Probably going to be better, because then you're not going to have these super long drawn out games where people get exhausted and get frustrated because the team's losing, but you have to get 3 wins. So overall, I think once again, this is probably a good change. The next one is that placements will now put you closer to where you ended the previous season. The example Jeff used is that a Diamond player who finishes the season in Diamond starts the next season, does their placements, and gets Platinum. And the reason they used to do this was so you could have the sort of experience of working your way back up to where you were, and by placing you slightly lower, then naturally you should be able to easily, well, quote-unquote easily, work your way back up to where you ended previously. However, I know a lot of people didn't like this way, because ending a season and then starting the next so much lower kind of feels bad. I kind of get that. So again, this is a good change in my opinion. And the last major change which Jeff mentioned is a simply improved matchmaking system. He didn't give any specifics, and I imagine if he did give us specifics, they'd be way too technical for most of us to even really understand. But in short, what he said is the matchmaker is going to work harder to get better paired teams. And of course he mentioned, in addition to this, this will result in longer queue times. Again, I think this is going to be a good change because unbalanced teams is really the last thing you'll want in a competitive game. And I, as well as I'm sure many people, would be willing to wait a little bit longer in the queue. Maybe it'll be a minute longer, we don't know exactly. But if it means that we're going to have a better game that we actually end up getting to play, then I'm all for it. I will note that there is no addition of a role select feature, which is something I've heard a lot of people talk about that they want to see implemented into competitive. I am glad there's no role select, as I've talked about it in previous videos of mine, but I think a role select would just be a terrible idea that would undermine competitive in a lot of different ways, and you just wouldn't be able to get it to work in a way that's actually beneficial. If you want to see my video where I talked all about that, I'll leave a card on screen now. Anyways, that'll wrap up all these new changes for competitive Season 6. This is interesting. Many of them are changes that I weren't really expecting, but for the most part, they all seem like they're going to be very good. I'm not sure whether or not this is going to fix the issues a lot of people have, but I guess we can always just hope for the best and see how it goes. The fact that the season's shorter is going to be nice because if there are problems, then it'll be sooner that Blizzard can get those fixed by going on to the next season. So, be sure to comment down below what you think about all these changes, as I know many of you play competitive a lot more than I do, so you'll probably have better thoughts and opinions pertaining to this. Also, go ahead and vote in today's poll card to share your thoughts there, too. Thank you all so much for watching, and please be sure to click that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and click that bell icon to keep up with all my other content. This is Mastery and Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.